Dear friends and colleagues, today is the day of the conference, the MoMLeT&DS workshop 2023. We might, those of you probably who have joined us might haven't mistaken a little bit of the time of the conference. It starts at 10 a.m. Central European time. So it's in an hour, actually. But I thought that someone might join us. That is why I asked a colleague of mine, those who have presentations a little bit later. But, well, I used my charisma to, to make them join us earlier so they could present their papers. And 10 o'clock Central European time, we all go to this first section. I will show you if you need this this conference program. I will share it in the chat anyway. So this is the link for this presentation for this section where the conference will start. We will hear the speeches of the presenters. This 20 minutes. That's in our timetable. This is what it starts, and then we go back and we will continue with Bogdan, Molodets, Volodymyr, Nazarchuk, Daniil, Bolderev, and Tetiana. Then their presentation will start, or we will do some changes on our way. Well, for now, I would ask my colleagues. I can see. Oh, I see. I have asked 4 of my colleagues. Maybe if there will be some more, then we will can be presented earlier. Solomiia Albota, then Vasyl Andrunyk, and there is an Oksana Markiv, whom I'm politely asked to join earlier. They will present their papers. Then, if some of your there will be more time before the conference speeches start, those on the first section, main section, the first section, not the main, but first. Then we will go join your presentations. For now, I would kindly ask Solomiia to start her presentation. And the paper Solomiia is presenting, it is tweets about Ukraine during the Russian-Ukrainian war, quantitative characteristics and sentiment analysis. Let me stop sharing. Yeah, let me stop sharing, and you can share. Yes, we can see your presentation.
The paper is entitled the following, as Tetiana Shestakevych mentioned. Yes, so the authors are Roksolana, Nazarchuk, and Solomiia Ohinok. Well, in modern linguistics, namely in the field of natural language processing, sentiment analysis belongs to the up-to-date areas of research. The rapid evolution of information and communication technologies has led to the active use of social networks, various forums, and other platforms that significantly impact the shaping of public opinions, assessments, and moods. If properly collected and analyzed, network data makes it possible to understand and explain many complex social phenomena and even predict them. So our research proposes the analysis of tone and quantitative characteristics of posts about Ukraine on Twitter during the Russian-Ukrainian war. With the help of this LIWC22 software, Linguistic Inquiry and Word Count, 111 tweets published by the leaders of the USA, Great Britain, Germany, France, and Poland shortly before and during the war have been analyzed. At the first stage, the sentiment analysis of tweets about Ukraine published by the leaders of the USA, Great Britain, Germany, France, and Poland was performed, which revealed the dominance of positive and negative tones. We believe that the analysis of frequency characteristics of data is relevant and productive for the description of text. Therefore, at the second stage, the quantitative parameters of the tweets using the LIWC22 program were great. The third stage was forecasting the difference in tones of the next 3 tweets of official representatives of the United States, Great Britain, Germany, France, and Poland, based on the data obtained using the LIWC22 analyzer in the first stage. The part of the diagram marked in blue shows the difference in tones of the already published tweets. The yellow indicates the difference in tones of tweets that will be published in the future, and the difference between positive and negative tones of the next 3 tweets of the British Prime Minister will be 1.28, 1.58, 1.88. The Polish President 3.46, 4.77, and 6.21. The German Chancellor 1.93, 2.54, 3.19. The US President 1.18, 1.95, 2.58, and the French President 0.56, 0.08, and 0.49. So, considering the specifics of the representation of text tones by this program LIWC22, the most effective and accurate way is to forecast the relocative difference in the tones of twist. As a result, it was revealed how large the difference would be between the positive tones and negative ones. The forecasting is made for each country separately while observing the existing posts, a strict chronological order. For practical implementation, the Pandas library was used to read Excel files and calculate tone differences, and then NumPy library was used to convert values and forecast differences. Given the relatively small volume of data, we consider it incorrect to use complex machine learning models because these models, having too many parameters relative to the number of observations, may be prone to overfitting. So we settled on the extrapolation method for forecasting. A high degree polynomial will also cause overfitting of an incorrect result. So we used the cross-validation method and found that a quadratic polynomial would provide the most accurate result. At the end, using the MatchPo library, the results were graphically visualized, of the diagrams were combined. So these are the references. Okay, thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Solomiia. Maybe there are some questions for our participant because I have one. Yes, feel free to ask questions, maybe to go to some slide of the presentation. Well,
excuse me, Tetiana.
Yes.
It start working section or it's only the test?
No, we have started. Let me finish with Solomiia. I shall explain again why are we here and why we are presenting. Okay? Can you please hold with the question for a while?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank
Okay. Solomiia, I have a question. Those differences, have you well, these diagrams, those gaps, are they connected to any special dates in the time, or it's not connected to dates at all? Maybe some actions, some events happened, or you haven't.
No, just linguistic data. It was an attempt to refer to linguistic data through diagrams. So only this statistical result on linguistic data, something like this.
There's no connection with data. Okay, thanks a lot. Thank you, Solomiia, so much for the presentation. Thanks for helping me and for joining us much earlier than you're supposed to. Thanks a lot. Thank you. For those who joined us with the questions, actually, the conference, let me share the screen again. The conference supposed to start according Central European time, and this is mentioned in here. And by Central European time, now it is 8 o'clock. So the conference haven't started yet. But the organizers thought that maybe some of people will not be able to pay, somehow will not pay attention to this fact. That is why I have asked some of my colleagues to join earlier. So if there will be some misunderstanding, at least, they can present their papers and, not to wait another hour till the conference starts. For those who didn't pay attention, just a second, we are working according to Central European time. According to Central European time, it will be 11 in Ukrainian time. We will skip to this first section, and then will be presentation, then will be the official opening of the conference, and we will go there. And then we shall go back to our section. It's section number 2, this one, and continue at 10:20 Central European time, which is 11:20 in Ukrainian time. This is why we are here. And well, as I said, I asked my colleagues and they agreed. I will have lifelong debt for their agreement. So they joined us to present their papers. So those who joined earlier could hear some presentations and didn't wait patiently alone. So the next, did I answer your question, sir?
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Okay. Thanks so much. Thank you for the question, because probably
Thank you
I
so
shall.
much.
Okay.
Very detailed. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I shall repeat probably this because lots of people lots of new people joining us, and it will be yes, probably those people who, well, the official conference haven't started yet. That is why we all gathered here. Well, our next presenter, the one I asked politely, was Vasyl Andrunyk, and I'm the co-author. And the presentation. Hello, Vasyl. Hello. The presentation is on the research about virtual reality of art therapy for children with autism. You may feel free to share the screen. And please.
Glory to Ukraine.
Yes.
Glory to heroes.
Yeah, we can see the presentation.
Thank you.
Slava Heroya.
I'm glad to congratulate all participants of the conference, and I would like to present research, virtual reality in art therapy for children with autism, authors Vasyl Andrunyk, Natalya, Kalka, and Tetiana Shestakevych. Abstract. Traditional art therapy tools are not always suitable for use by children with autism in case of increased sensory sensitivity, which makes it impossible to work with paint, brushes, or listen to certain musical composition. One of the effective tools that therapists use to help people with autism better communicate and connect with others and the world around them in virtual reality. Introduction. Autism is becoming an increasingly common diagnosis, and recent research in USA indicates that every 44 children and diagnosed with ASD. In Ukraine, over the past 5 years, according to official statistics, diagnosis of the autism spectrum has increased by almost 200%. Since most children with autism have difficulties with verbal self-expression, art becomes a tool of self-expression for them. It has been proven that children with autism often have an advantage in art. Many of them are quite talented in mathematics, drawing, music, and even drama. A restriction of art therapy for children with autism and virtual reality. Children with more 7 forms of autism, an example would be fine motor skills, as many children and adults on the autism spectrum have difficulties with it. That impairs the ability to draw, usage of scissors, of play instruments. One of the proposals to overcome these challenges is multimedia art for children. Emphasis is placed on the use of digital painting via virtual reality. In general, the VR technique can be especially useful for the treatment of children who find it too difficult to create traditional art therapy in the clinic. Virtual reality can also be therapeutic alternative for children who are making mistakes in their work. All the above point to the need to further research to evaluate the effective of virtual art therapy for different age groups in the short and long term. Development of a conceptual model of the virtual art therapy system. In general, art therapy can reduce behavioral problems in children with autism in certain problems areas, including social communication, behavior, flexibility, and self-esteem. Virtual reality has several benefits for students with ASD, such as helping overcome excessive shyness influencing children who are very hyperactive or have heightened emotion, and more. In this case, virtual drawing can fulfill the role of real VR meditation. Use case diagram can be considered a good starting point for discussing key project participants and process without going into many implementation details. So, as you can see in figure 1 of the developed system, there are 4 actors: a child with ASD, art therapist, psychologist, VR developer, or freelancer. Figure 2 shows the sequence diagram. The visual representation of the graph in the form of an activity diagram is presented in figure 3. Stages of the art therapy procedure for a child with autism. On the recommendation of art therapist and autism specialist, the following stages of art therapy for a child with ASD were suggested. Figure 4, stage 1, sensory emotions, selection of art materials. Stage 2, creative process, VR drawing. Stage 3, distancing, view of art from the side. Stage 4, verbalization of feeling and thoughts. VR art therapy session. Art therapy sessions were conducted using a standalone MetaQuest 2 virtual reality helmet and touch controllers. The software used in the research is OpenBrush and Drawing Desk, which have no alternatives amongst free software for VR drawing. We will present the features of the procedure using virtual reality, in which the art therapy technique drawing on a free topic was used. Figure 5, which was created by an autistic girl and depicts a person, was created very quickly. We can notice the predominance of blue and gray colors. The absence of eyes also indicates isolation and a desire to isolate oneself from reality, which reflect the personal and social position of an autistic child. Figure 6, 12-year-old boy, broad cut thought the color scheme and symbols of the predominance of focus on the inner world. However, its wolf emphasizes the combination of gray and orange color with signal on the one hand a lack of emotion, depression, and pleasant feeling and experience, and the desire to stand out among other orange color. Analysis of the drawing figure 7 of a 13-year-old boy allow us to draw a conclusion about diverse palette of experience since many colors and objects are observed. Discussion. Virtual reality is also an ideal option for people who have sensory sensitivity and afraid a contact with paint or other art materials. One of the disadvantages of virtual drawing is the lack of tactile feedback, such as applying a brush to the canvas. They also faced another problem, the level of awareness of virtual reality session. Full VR immersion requires prior preparation, and it might take a lot of time to prepare a child with ASD for a virtual art therapy session. Conclusion. Based on the result of VR drawing in children with ASD, we state that the first stage for this category of children turned out to be the longest and most exciting. During stage 2, children are usually immersed in a creative process that is not accompanied by a reaction, but is associated with complete immersion. At stage 3, which is related to distancing, children begin to distance themselves from the created picture and perceive it as not their own. At this stage, the first difficulties arise. The specialist must be actively involved, for example, art therapist, psychologist, and other. The fourth stage was the most problematic, which fully reflected the difficulties of children with ISD, which are related to verbalize their own emotion stages and experiences. And finally, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Vasyl, for the presentation. Very interesting. I like it a lot. Maybe there are some questions for our presenter.
Yes, I hear.
Oh, if we have no questions, maybe all the communications we have, you might reach to the presenter, you might reach to the authors later. Thank you so much, Vasyl, for the presentation. As one of the participants of the process, I like this VR helmet a lot, but it's a very specific experience. Again, for those who have, thank you so much, Vasyl, for the presentation. Again, for those of us who just joined us, the conference is supposed to start according to Central European time, which is from our Ukrainian time an hour earlier. So in Central European time, it's 8:21. So we still have 40 minutes. And that is why I asked my colleagues to present their papers. Well, they agreed to do it not on schedule. But although Solomiia Ohinok asked to be the second one. So Solomiia, please take the floor. And then just a second, I shall stop sharing the screen. We will stay here till 10, till almost 11 in Ukrainian time, then go to this section 1 when the keynote speeches will be presented and the formal opening of the conference will happen. And now we will, some of my colleagues joined to give the presentations. Maybe you would like to give your presentation earlier if it's possible. Well, now we are asking Solomiia. She's presenting the independent factors simulation of the influence on the level of sustainable development in intellectual systems of management. Solomiia, take the floor.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. Nice to be here. Nice to take part at this conference. That's actually a great honor, for us to take part. To take part in such a kind of conference. Just a second, I'm gonna make it to the full screen. Yes, can you see my screen? Good, perfect. So thank you so much once again. So my name is Solomiia Ohinok, as it was already mentioned. Today I have a great honor to present Lviv Polytechnic National University. And also we had our team, and the representatives of our team are Maryana Gvozd, Solomiia Ohinok, Uliana Ivaniuk, Kateryna Protsak, and Lina Chernobay. So let's actually start my presentation. So the topic is here, and it was already mentioned, so I'm not going to read it once again. So first of all, let me start with the importance, of this topic, actually. So the importance of focusing the attention of the world community on this issue is due to those actually challenges, that have a negative impact on the indicators of main areas of sustainable development and act as actually barriers to achieving this goal. So after all, sustainable development is, so to say, a paradigm. The future is considered as a balance of its three components. As we have economic, social, and environment. So the main purpose of the research is, of course, to investigate the impact of foreign direct investment, on the challenge in the level of sustainable development of countries with different characteristics, and to identify those indicators that have the greatest impact on it using actually intelligent management tools. Also, you have here written the main our tasks, but let me come quickly to the methods. So this research actually was carried out by the methods of regression modeling, and is that it will allow to determine the influence of factors on the performance indicator in the particular, to determine the level and actually nature of the influence of various factors. Yes, so here we are talking about direct foreign investment, GDP level, population growth, and so on. Yeah, so as it is mentioned, we used actually special software packages. So also we analyzed 9 countries. So there are chosen 9 countries for the research. It is Norway, Denmark, Estonia, Greece, Canada, Mexico, South Africa, Singapore, and India. Yeah. So actually, I'm gonna answer the question, that comes before. So why this choice? So this choice of countries is reasonable, and not random, because of these countries are from different parts, of the world. And they have actually different economics, different economic, ecological, and social level of development. So the result of this research will serve as a basis, so to say, for making forecast on a global scale. So therefore, we will conduct the regression modeling of the impact of the above indicators on the level of sustainable development using dynamic difference and the system generalized method of least squares. Analyzing the dynamics of Norway's indicator and conducting regression modeling based on the use of least squares method. So here we present the result of it. So from this result and from which slide, from this slide we can make actually the conclusion that the Sustainable Development Index, which was calculated taking into account all the independent variables increased during the study period. But however, the inflows of net foreign investors unstable during the analyzed period. So a few words about correlation results. So the next step was to determine actually the correlation between independent indicators affecting the level of sustainable development in Norway. From the obtained result, as we have here presented, it is appropriate to note that the correlation coefficient between the Sustainable Development Index and almost all the selected independent variables is higher than average, as we see here. So it is negative only for the population growth, as we see here. So with all independent factors except the unemployment rate, so the Sustainable Development Index has a positive coefficient, so this shows that the specific economic and environmental indicators have a positive effect on the formulation of Norway's Sustainable Development Index, and the unemployment rate has a negative correlation coefficient, indicating that the higher the unemployment percentage in Norway, the lower the sustainability index. So after analyzing the table of correlation, it was decided to remove the indicators that have high correlation coefficient with their dependent variables to avoid actually the problem of multi-correlation, so which negatively affect the formulation of the result of the regression equitation, So results of the regression modeling calculation of the impact of changes in the independent indicators on the level of sustainable development in Norway is presented here on this slide. So it is also important that from the equitation result, it can be seen that there is no more problem of multi-correlation, first of all, since the sign of the coefficient of regression equitation correspond to the sign in the table correlation. So according to the result, the regression equitation of Norway the following actually conclusions can be drawn. Yeah. So first of all the coefficients are significant, as the significance of index, yeah, from all is less than 0.05, yeah, which indicates that the selected independent variables are significant and affect the sustainable development index. Yeah, so it is also interesting that then CO2 emission, yeah, increase by 1 unit. The sustainable development index will increase actually by 9.54, yeah, units. So in case of the increase in the net foreign direct investment by $1, the sustainable development index will increase by 1.38, yeah, units. So similarly, the regression modeling of the impact of independent indicators on the level of sustainable development of countries selected from the research using the least square method was carried out, yeah, and the result of the calculation are presented here on this slide, yeah. Also, I would like to present actually the result of our research, yes. So I would like to underline the main results. Yeah. So first of all, the research carried out the regression modeling of the impact of independent factors on the level of sustainable development, yes, of countries with different characteristics, as it was already mentioned, yeah. And actually, modeling results showed the significance level of the coefficient, yes, because it is less than 1.5, which indicates that the independent indicators selected for the research are significant, yes, and they have a great effect on the index of sustainable development, yes, of these countries. Yeah, so actually, thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for giving us such a kind of floor, yeah, to have this discussions, yeah, and to have this possibility to present our results. So that's a great honor, and thank you very much for doing such a great job.
No, thanks a lot. Well, Solomiia, thank you very much for the presentation and for your kind words as well. Well, maybe there are some questions for our presenter.
Yeah, I have one.
Yes, please.
Solomiia, please tell me about what software you use in your research.
Yeah, as it was already mentioned, yeah, I also put it into the slide. Let me just once again go back to the slide. Yeah, here is mentioned that we use some kind of software packages. Yes, for example, Excel, eViews, and Statistica. Actually, I'm using eViews very often. Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite one. So that's why all the result actually was presented in this actually software.
And Statistica is very well the software, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm, actually that comes maybe from my student's life, actually, because I was maybe a second year or a third year student, and we have econometrics, and we had actually a brilliant professor. I hope you know him, Yaroslav Pratula. He's now in UKU, working in UKU, and he would just, push us, so to say, to love this software, and actually I'm quite familiar with it, so I like to make all the kind of researches and all the kind of calculations in this program.
Yeah, good visualization.
Our students from Lviv Polytechnic National University, they often used Statistica also. We have a subject, I just forgot the name of the subject, some kind of management, yeah, where we teach them to use the Statistica, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question, yeah.
Thank you, Solomiia. Maybe more questions? Okay, no questions. Thank you, Solomiia, very much for your presentation.
Thanks a
and
lot.
interesting work.
Yes.
Have a nice,
Once-
well, not have a nice day yet.
Not bye-bye
Stay
yet,
with
but
us.
yeah.
Not yet.
We are staying, of course, yes. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
once
you,
again.
Solomiia.
Yeah.
See
Thank
you
you so
later,
much.
maybe, yeah.
Excuse me?
See you later, maybe.
Well,
Yeah, see you later.
Okay, see you later. Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Our next presenter is Oksana Markiv. I see two of presentations of yours. The first one is this information technology. Yeah, that's the first presentation by Oksana. Thank you so much, Oksana.
So
Take the floor.
should I start the second presentation one by one?
Well, let's step by
Okay.
step because I had some. Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon. I would like to present our teamwork, information technology for foreign languages, remote learning with adaptation to the user based on machine learning. Since the goal of the work is to improve the process of remote learning of foreign languages, it was chosen to create an application for a translation based on their choice of the native language and the language being studied. Accordingly, it becomes necessary to use artificial neural networks to solve classification tasks, and so it determines the purpose of our research. So the goal is to improve the process of remote learning of the foreign languages. Here we can see backgrounds of our research. So masking procedure details for each sentence are as follows. Our results, yes. The model was trained on 4-cloud TPU input configuration. So these are our methods and tools for making these results, and these approaches was made. Adam optimizer was used. So we here see our learning rate, and also, so the purpose of the study is to improve, as I have said previously, the process of remote learning, and to achieve the goals, the following tasks were set, especially to build a classification model based on neural networks, analyze materials for working with programming languages, and also develop software and test it. Yes, here we can see object and subject. The methodological basis of the research is general scientific and special methods. The practical significance of the obtained results is that the use of the developed software will allow to improve translation from any selected pairs of language, which will serve as the basis for remote training of users. Experimental part of the research, the following technology stack is selected for work. So in our work, we used such program tools as JavaScript, HTML, CSS, Tailwind, and the following main dependencies were used for development. Here we can see especially Prisma, and current work has combined user profiling and responsive user interface to help satisfy users. So user profiling can be approached in one of 3 ways. We can see here 3 of them. The first 2 approaches rely on traditional marketing techniques using known info, and the third is of our interest here, use of the learned model. Yeah, it involves creating a system that initially doesn't know its users, but develops a profile based on interactions. A profile can be created individually for each user, or collectively gathering all users' data to form overall profile of interest and behavior. And here it's learning process of neural network, how we use neural network for our research. After training the network, it becomes possible to use the selected languages based on translations made during initialization of application. Training the network is a process in which the parameters of neural network are adjusted by simulating the environment in which neural network is embedded. Yeah? So here we can see class diagram. So these blocks, it's Prisma, download the data, user, post data, random. So it's a part of code in Java. Here we can see. So, and in general, we all know that there are 4 main methods of teaching English. It's a grammar translation, direct methods, audio lingualism, communicating language teaching, and all of them have their peculiarities. Basically, on taking into consideration these four methods, we see the main logic of the application is written using the JavaScript language, so Prisma, and it's usually called schema Prisma and consists of the following parts. We can see here parts. So in order to get acquainted more clearly and more precisely, everything is right in our work here, because on slides it's difficult to give all the necessary information, but in general here it's experimental part of the research. So for our developed application, we use grammar translation. So as I have said previously, there are four models. We use grammar translation and direct method for use by one user, and also to increase the functionality of the application. We use phraseological units, dialect words, and slang elements for it. And it will improve understanding and learning of the chosen language. And to start the application, it's necessary to connect the necessary libraries, that's obviously, yes, and modules, and install these modules and dependencies correctly. Some slides depicted this practical part, and here some nuances. When the user interacts with the application, data is sent to the Prism. Yeah, here is Prism loading data to the Prism. And here we see some profile. So post data transfer methods is using, here, when speaking about assets are extracted from our file and provided to the user. And here on this picture, we see how it works, this model card, yeah, and general information, so what it is, how it works, so we can choose a language. And as I have said the first at the beginning, so application combines natural language, so it's a mother language and language that should be studied. So it's two languages, one by one translation, yeah. So since the application is deployed locally, first necessary to unpack its styles with the following command. Here it's main command here. And when we see that all the necessary modules are assembled, it's necessary to run the application locally. And for this, we use Verso. So here there is a link how to use it. It's online, yeah. And after launching on the platform, we can get to the application itself. The main results, the model was pre-trained on book corpus, a data set consisting of 11,000 new unpublished books and the English Wikipedia. The texts are written in lowercase and tokenized using word piece. So in our work, we used tokenization, lemmatization, yes, some results, and visualization of the model. The project is protected by CHA 512 keys and Vasyl authentication mechanism. And in order to start working with Vasyl, especially you need to have a GitHub account that also protects your repositories. Based on this, we conclude that the probability of cyber attacks is minimal because we use GitHub. Here is comparison of trained and untrained network, because network can be trained and untrained, it's obviously, yeah. So it's activation function, we use Sigmoid and Relu. And since the goal was to improve the process of remote learning of foreign languages, it was chosen to create application, such application. The model, as you see, as you have seen, was pre-trained. And in the result, we conclude that a trained network is better, firstly, because it allows to improve its performance on test data. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Oksana, for the yes, as you said, maybe there are some questions regarding this work. Okay, well, I see no. Okay, if no question,
may I ask one question? Is possible to use your system for study Ukrainian language distance as foreign language for different people around the world?
Especially we trained our application taking into consideration English and Ukrainian language, Ukrainian as natural for us, yes, mother tongue, and for others as not natural, yes, as foreign language. But the main problem of lemmatization of the difficulties of lemmatization of Dutch language is that nowadays is very hard to work with this language without involved functions, built-in functions. Yes, but as you said, yes, for others countries, Ukrainian as foreign can be worked in this application.
Thank you so much. It's very interesting.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Oksana, yes, I do know that you have the second presentation, but well, a colleague of us, the one who's supposed to be at this first section, asked whether he can present. That is why I will ask Bogdan Molodets to join us to give his presentation. And if probably, Oksana, then your presentation will be the first after the keynote speeches. So at Ukrainian 11:20, you will be the first presenter, if it's okay with you.
Okay, Ukrainian 11:20. Okay.
So Bogdan, please join us. Thank you, Oksana, for your help and for joining us much earlier. Thanks a lot. And Bogdan, please, you can share the screen and give your presentation.
Could you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can hear you, but we...
Okay.
Yeah. And well, while you're sharing the screen, I'll just remind all of us, we shall leave this room, this Zoom meeting, and join the Zoom meeting of the first section. This is where the keynote speeches will be presented, and then we shall go back at Central European time 10:20. In Ukrainian, it's 11:20. We shall go back and we'll start with Oksana's presentation, as Bogdan and Solomiia already presented their papers. Please take the floor.
Okay, let's start this. Dear participants, my name is Bogdan Molodets, and I would like to present to you information system of air quality assessment using data interpolation from ground station. Monitoring ground station is crucial for creating interactive maps that assist in assessing air quality. For today, many studies have been conducted with methods for assessing air quality and the factors that most affect air quality. This slide image shows nitrogen dioxide over Europe based on Copernicus Sentinel-5P mission data. Also, there is air pollution map of Lviv region taken for 2016, which was created by scientists from Lviv Polytechnic National University. In general, the ecological state of the environment of Lviv region was satisfactory. However, Kamenka, Buski, Sokolsky, and Stry district had the highest level of pollution, with such as methane, nitrogen dioxide, and carbon monoxide. So it's necessary to develop the information system which solves this problem by predicting air quality, notifying the user about danger. System of air quality monitoring is a system which visualizes current air quality state in real time, save historical information to storage, and build forecasts. In this regard, scientists from Oleh, Dnipro National University and Dnipro University of Technology developed methodology of creating an information system that grab and analyze data from various sources, such ground station for air quality assessment. The air quality index is an imaginary unit of measure which is used by government agencies or private companies to inform citizens about the level of air pollution. The US AQI, which was developed by Environmental Protection Agency, was chosen in the current information system. It's divided into 6 categories. Each of that has its own impact on health, and all this level and of indices and explanation are described at this slide. Weather research and forecasting model was chosen as a forecasting model. It's a next generation numerical weather forecasting system developed for both atmospheric and operational forecasts. WRF can perform the simulation based on actual atmospheric condition or an idealized condition. WRF offers an operational forecasting, flexible and efficient platform, reflecting the latest advances in physics, numerical solutions, and data assimilation that is shown at this stream. Interpolation tools provide the ability to create a continuous surface by value from anchor points. Input points can be located either as a regular grid or randomly. In this slide, you can see inverse distance weight algorithm that calculates the results based on a measurement value that fall into the vicinity of the interpolation point and on given mathematical formulas that determine the smoothness of the resolution surface. For simplified calculation, GDAL library was used. All operations with vector and raster are carried out in the virtual memory of the library, which made it possible to avoid writing files on the hard disk. As a result, georeference image was obtained. After that, region with no data were cropped. We changed also color scheme and cutting the image into tiles for faster rendering. So the third part is divided into 3 components. The first component is a backend of Django. PostGIS was used as an extend Postgres database for simplifying work with types like geometry and raster. The second one includes Docker settings for deployment. The deployment application includes Docker files and script files that are responsible for running each container. And the third one is a front end. Since this web application is a simple page application, it manages the transfer of data instead of views. The system implements data caching, which make it possible to speed up data exchange between client and server. And there is scheme show a single directional data in the system and state management, which allow reactively track changes. So to adjust the model, the data of its forecasts compared with the real data from state weather station of Ukraine. Using the Python programming language, interpolation was carried out between these points. This model were compared with data from real sensor in such parameter as temperature, wind speed, humidity, and pressure. It was decided to compare the results of the predictive models with the forecast of after aggressive model used to describe stationary stochastic processes. Difference between the VRF and ARIMA lower than 1 degree, so root mean square errors were calculated to assess quality of their prediction. WRF-GFS model has approximately 1.29, when ARIMA model has 1.33. So its mean WRF is more accurate than ARIMA model. However, WRF can be improved by using post-processing like multi-sensor advection diffusion, of using satellite observation to detect the clouds and diffuse the clouds. So, as a way to transfer station data, the architectural approach REST was used. By selecting station, a user open information tooltip with current value and model window with historical data. Air quality interpolation was saved as a raster tile in Amazon simple storage service and displayed as a raster layer on the map using map.gl library. So to conclude, using architectural approaches and technologies which were described, a system was developed which aggregate data from ground station, make prediction, and build interactive use of aggregated data. In future, we are going to improve prediction of the Earth using neural network as post-processing tools. After forecast improvement, will be attempt to make system more flexible and stable by separate parts of project in its own server instances. The described architecture is used in the your air test system for today. Thank you for attention.
Bogdan, thank you so much for the presentation. It's very actual situation with pollutions and our health. Thanks a lot for your work. There are maybe some questions from our participants. Well, if no question, thank you so much, Bogdan, and thank you so much for joining us earlier. So you could and well, you're presenting actually earlier than your timetable. Thanks a lot. I hope you will enjoy this conference. Well, we still have thanks a lot. We have 5 more minutes, and maybe we should ask Oksana to give one more presentation. If it's can you? Well, I do understand it's not enough time, but will you try? If can you give it a try? Yes, you can.
I can
Thanks
try,
a lot.
so
Okay.
I try to be short.
Okay, so I'm going to remind you that at 11 Ukrainian, according to Ukrainian time o'clock, we're going to the first section link and hear the presentation of our keynote speakers, and then go back here at 11:20 Ukrainian time. Oksana, please.
So I would like to present our teamwork sentiment analysis technology of English newspapers quotes based on the neural network as public opinion influences identification tool. In condition of the war in Ukraine, business plays a key role in supporting the economy, maintaining competitiveness. Our paper describes the application of sentiment analysis of feedback for the support of IT, the information technology for solving NLP problems was made, adapted to Ukrainian audience. So here there is a purpose and main task that should be solved. And in this scheme, we can see general scheme of the information space sentiment analysis. The general typical structure of the information system for the support of e-commerce has been developed by feedback of target audience based on machine learning technology and natural language processing. 3 methods have been analyzed: the logic regression, the support vector, and Bayesian. Here you can see use case, cooperation, and activity diagrams and all main components of it. So it was decided to use the naive-based algorithm as a basis. It was decided to use the Python programming language and such frameworks and libraries. And to implement the algorithm, it was chosen to use such library enablers Grell, Naum, Vasyl, Gaussian, NB. Here in this slide, we can see the use case diagram. We see the manager should interact in this part of work, class diagram, authorization, registration, and all stacks what combined these main components, and cooperation diagram. Here there is such clusters, such components. It is relevant to analyze the directions of building information technology to support the development of e-business. It is combination of feedback and social network and public news and special sites. As it is known, NLP combines computational linguistics, rule-based modeling of human languages, deep learning, and together it allows to process human language in the form of text of voice data. When feedback is collected, the system performs classification operation. Here there is experimental part of the research. The data is obtained in real time. Functions of stemming and lemmatization was used. Main components of in Python language. The accuracy of the work is 92%. Also, the system has identified the most important words of reviews. Here we see a comparative graph of the results of the used method. And in general, we see that application of sentiment analysis of reviews is useful. Analyzed analogs makes it possible to develop information technology for solving problems of NLP. And software was developed and its structure has been described. So in the future, we will work on it and deep our research. Thank you for attention.
Thank you, Oksana. I can see this time this work was in deep touch with Ukrainian language. That well, yes. Very nice. Maybe touch, yeah. Maybe in future it will make it easier your previous work and make it more efficient. Okay, thanks a lot, Oksana, for the presentation. Maybe there are some questions for Oksana. Okay, if there's no question, then thanks again. Thank you for joining us earlier and your presentation. the main the opening of the conference is according to is at the is just a second is at the link I'm sending at the chat now. So it's in this conference program, but you might want to use them. So I will stay here a little bit, but to send all the participants to this link, so we could all join the keynote speeches, and then come back here at 10, well, at Ukrainian 11:20, at Central European time 10:20, and continue our presentations and continue our work. Thanks a lot for joining us. So let's go for the section where the keynote speeches are done. Thanks a lot. Use this link, the one I gave in the chat, so you could join the opening of the conference. So I'll ask you to go there. So I'm closing this session, so you could join the other one.